The nice folks over at FlashSticks contacted me a while back and asked me if I would do a review of their new app and of their FlashSticks. So I went ahead and said yes, absolutely. So they sent over some of their product, which is these little flash sticks here, and also this little note here that is quite lovely and handwritten, and even says that you can have a 10% discount if you use the promo code Herr Antrim 10, which I'll leave in the description down below so you can see that. For those of you who are unaware, FlashSticks is a company that makes flashcards with post-it notes on them, and you can scan these from anywhere with a smartphone app, and that scan will then show a video of what it is that you're supposed to say for the pronunciation done by a native speaker. The FlashSticks that I got here are the beginner level ones, and these are the ones that includes 4 different categories. We have blue here for masculine nouns, green for things that are not nouns, pink for the nouns that are feminine, and yellow down here for the neuter nouns. On the back of the flash sticks here, it shows you a list of all of the words that are in the category, and we have masculine, feminine, neuter, and other here on all of that list there. It does only give you the things here in English rather than giving you it in both languages, but I don't really understand why. Each one of the flash sticks has a pronunciation guide underneath the German word. If I had no idea what the German language sounded like, however, these pronunciation guides would be less than ideal. As if I were to try to pronounce this word here, I would end up with der Himmel, which is sort of right. But once you actually watch the video with the pronunciation guide, it kinda does make sense and it starts to help out.
Der Himmel. Sky. Der Himmel. Essen. To eat. Essen.
There are several things that I like about this product. First of all, I love the color coding because if you have blue for masculine nouns, pink for the feminine nouns, and yellow for the neuter nouns, you can immediately see what the gender is without actually having to read out der, die, and das all the time. Even though the pronunciation guides are a little bit counterintuitive when you first start out, it does make a lot more sense once you actually have heard someone say the word. And then at that point, these little pronunciation guides can at least help you to remember what it is that other person said. And once you get used to the system of how these pronunciation guides are written, then you can kind of figure it out without actually having to watch the video. The pictures on each of these little flashcards is also relatively helpful. They're simple, they're straightforward, they're to the point, and of course they're not overly cluttering so that you don't have to think about them too much. While most of these words won't actually work as sticky notes to put around your house as like labeling different things, they are sticky notes so you can just peel one off and stick it wherever you want it. Most people think that you have to sit down with the idea that you're going to learn some German vocabulary, whereas really you need to learn to live through that language or to kind of think about that language all the time, or at least as much as you possibly can, to live the language in order to understand it, in order to learn it. If you constantly see these words and you scan them as often as you possibly can, you will start to memorize them more quickly. Now the main part of the FlashSticks app is actually the FlashSticks scanner, which scans the FlashSticks and then tells you how to pronounce things. But there are also 2 other parts to this. The one that I think is the most fascinating and probably has the most potential for the future is the object scanner. Basically the idea is that you scan some random object around you, it comes up and says, this is the word for that thing you just scanned in the language that you wanted to learn. This works in like 15 languages at this point. Here are a few examples of what this looks like in action.
Silbergabel. Edelstahlmesser.
Now obviously sometimes the scanner gives you a word that's just too specific. So you have the option to just hit this simplify button, and once you push that button, it'll allow you to take away certain words or to only use the words that you want for the definition needed. This is helpful most of the time, but there are a few times that I've come up with it where it came up with a word that I wouldn't have used to describe this in English, let alone in German, and so you couldn't limit it down to a word that actually made sense, as they didn't even provide you a single word that made sense.
Grauenbetonschaufel.
On the upside, if you scan the same thing over and over again at different angles, you'll eventually come up with different answers.
Orange- und Gelbtuch-Kürbislaterne. Jakolenten Warenkorb.
That's also kind of the downside, because if it continues to give you different answers all the time, how do you know which one's the right one? Now, the third part of this app is only available in French and Spanish at the moment. They said they are working on the German version and it's supposed to be up in the next 3 months or so. Since I started doing French on Duolingo a few weeks ago, I figured I would just test this out with the French version. There's this part called the learning journey, and you can try this out in Spanish or French. Obviously, I chose the French one here. From here, you have digital FlashSticks. It's basically the same thing as the paper ones, but instead of actually having them in your hand, you just tap the little button.
Madame. Mrs. or Madame. Madame.
Here you can watch the digital FlashSticks videos like you did before, but you can also have related words,
Bonjour madame.
related sentences,
Enchanté. Bienvenue.
an audio file only,
Madame.
and even practice your own speaking. I personally love the pronunciation test because then you can actually hear yourself right next to the person who is saying the same thing, and you can practice that way. A lot of people can't even hear whenever they're mispronouncing something, so if they hear their voice on a recording, they're much more likely to recognize that they're actually saying it wrong.
Madame.
Madame. Madame. Madame. Madame.
Sometimes there's also a little grammar hint included. There are also a couple of games that you can play on the FlashSticks app. The first one here is called Word Flash. It shows you a part of a card that you had before on your FlashSticks list, and then it shows you just little blocks at a time until you finally figure out which one it is. If the entire thing shows up, you lose and you don't get any points. It's an interesting game, but as far as an educational purpose, I really just am not seeing it. I don't get it. I don't see how this can be educational. Maybe then my brain just doesn't work like it's supposed to in order for this to work for me, but I just don't get it. The second game is called Word Drop. Here they give you a list of scrambled letters and a definition that you're supposed to use, and then you have to rearrange the letters in order to spell the thing that you need in the language needed. You apparently only get a certain amount of time in order to do this, but I haven't figured out exactly what that time limit is because there's no timer. And instead of swapping letters like I expected it to do whenever I just put this one here and this one here and then they should just change places, instead it takes one thing and then puts it here, and if I want to put this one over here, it shoves all of them down the line, which is kind of odd. It's kind of irritating at first, but once you get used to it, it actually works pretty well. This is actually the game that I would suggest using more often rather than the one with the little pictures on it, because that one's probably not all that helpful, but the spelling one is really helpful for me because I can actually visualize what I'm supposed to be spelling and then rearrange the letters accordingly. Overall, I think that this app and the accompanying FlashSticks are fantastic. The native speakers in the videos are awesome, and it actually gets you to hear the words like they're supposed to be said. I really like the idea of having the object scanner, but it just doesn't work well enough at this point for me to say that it's anything other than a novelty. It's cute, it sometimes works, but if you're trying to learn a language, you don't know when it's not working, and that's a huge problem if you're trying to teach someone a language. Give it a few more updates, and then it might be worthwhile. In fact, the updates that they've done since the first time I started playing around with this are a big improvement over the first iteration. I love the games and the digital flashcards portion of the learning journey. It's a great portion to add on there, and it's really, really educational. And it's by far the most helpful thing on the entire app. I do have a few complaints though. Sometimes whenever I'm trying to tap on something, it doesn't work the first time that I tap it. In fact, sometimes whenever I'm using the object scanner and I need to choose the language, it takes forever for me to get the little button to push the button with the button in order to get the German. I've had a little bit of luck with this if I double tap on things, if I just tap real quickly on there, but sometimes even this causes problems that are different than the previous problems. Sometimes if I double tap on something, it'll tap the first time correctly, and then I end up tapping a second time on whatever the screen is that comes up after that, which is also not helpful. So they gotta work on their touch screen sensitivity a little bit. As I already mentioned, there's a little bit of quirkiness with the spelling thing and moving the letters around. It just kinda bothers me the way that it's set up. Also, there is a serious sound issue on some of the FlashSticks that they use for the French language. I don't know what the deal is, but the microphone that they used or something is just not right. The room that they used is apparently too much of an echo, and there's also a little bit of distortion in the background, which causes a weird squeaking noise that usually happens whenever you over-edit an audio file.
L'Autriche. Austria. L'Autriche.
One of the other complaints is that I have whenever I try and scan an object, you have a little button that says Save Photo. It just doesn't work on my phone. I have no idea where the photo goes. All of the screen captures that you've seen here are either done with the camera that's in front of me right now, or done because I took a screen capture of whatever was on my screen using the power button and the little home button. And then one other small thing that is actually fixed already in the app, and that is, when you first scan an object, it comes up with this really annoying sound while you're trying to figure out what the object is supposed to be, and it just drives me insane. On the upside, in the settings, you can actually shut this off. So what's this going to cost you? Well, a FlashStick set like this, which has 100 words in it, is $7.75, American dollars that is, on their website. Which I think is actually pretty good considering that you also get the videos with this and the app that goes with that. In order to use the object scanner as much as you want and to get access to the learning journey, you do need to pay an extra fee of $3.89 a month. If you want to purchase some FlashSticks like these, or if you want to purchase some of the more advanced level ones, then you can do that on their website from FlashSticks.com. And I would also encourage you to use the promo code Herr Antrim 10, which I will leave in the description as well, so that you can get a 10% discount. So what do you think about FlashSticks? Have you used them? Does anybody out there have any experience with them? Do you like them? Do you not like them? Is there anything that's quirky about them? Have any of you tried the Learning Journey app? What suggestions would you have for FlashSticks in the future? That's all I've got for today. Thanks for watching. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschüss. Okay, since I'm gonna get this question anyway, I might as well just answer this question now. No, I'm not getting paid by FlashSticks. No, they're not giving me any perks. They shared a couple of my videos on their social networking as a way to say thank you for doing this review, and they are also giving my viewers a 10% discount. Obviously, in order for me to do this review and do it properly, I had to at least obviously get these, and I had to get access to the premium content on their app. So they did that for me as well. That's all I'm getting out of this, so don't think that I'm biased based on that information there. I gave you my honest opinion, and that's why there's so many complaints in here. But there it is.